Good times, my fellow humans. If it is not good, then it's about to get better. Welcome to the Be Different podcast. My name is Nekesa Ochieng, and I am glad to have you here. Hi guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Be Different podcast. My name is Nekesa Ochieng. As always, I'm super excited for another week, another day, another opportunity to make an impact or to make a difference or to just touch a life. So some exciting news. First of all, thank you so much for listening. Guys, the support is immense. I am surprised always. Let me not hide. I look at the numbers and the numbers are always surprising. You guys are listening and it's really, it's a very humbling experience actually. And I really hope that as we just talk, as we heal, as we send out these vibes that we are sending out, that it's actually touching a life and making an impact. Good news, we have a till number now. So I'll actually put the till number on all the socials, the Instagram page, the Facebook page, and on the YouTube page, actually on the YouTube video. So these funds are going towards supporting the Be Different podcast. We actually want to upgrade in terms of equipment. We want to go full HD. Yeah, so thank you. These are my lovely guests, and we are going to talk about self-love. So welcome guys. Thank you for always coming. Thank you for making time. I mean, let me not go into the details, but everyone has just stretched themselves to be here today. So I'll let them introduce themselves and then we'll dive in. Karibu.
Asante. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have made time to be here as well. It's an honor and a privilege to be in this platform. My name is Yvette Wanzu. I am a mom, a podcaster, a businesswoman. I'm a child of God. I like to call myself just a tiny babe with a very big God. That's how I like to describe myself. Yeah, so I'm all that and a lot more.
I really like that.
So I'm Mellanie.
What don't say what
I'm
you
a
do.
mom.
Yeah.
Humanitarian. I love. Let me say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
So guys, we were just having like some bits of conversation here and there. We really want to talk about self-love. And the one thing, first, I feel like it can be a very narrow subject, and I also feel like it can be a very broad subject, depending on how we approach it or depending on how we like really just look at it. But let's give it our best, right? So what is self-love to you? Can I go first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so self-love to me is for me, self-love is healthy boundaries. Actually, for me, it starts and ends with that. Okay, healthy boundaries and being honest with yourself. Yes, actually being honest 247 and healthy boundaries. Actually, that's what I'll say. You go, Yvette.
What is self-love for me? I think self-love is first, I think two things for me. Self-love is choosing you, and then self-love is functioning in the fullness of your authenticity.
Wow.
Yeah. So that encompasses who you are, how you look like, your roles, but functioning in the fullness of your authenticity, your true authentic self.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mel, what is self-love to you?
I feel like whatever you guys have said narrows it down. In other words, so let me just say in other words, because for me, I'd say peace.
Yeah.
Anytime I feel I'm at peace, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. And that's good for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So peace, I'd say, you said
I said healthy boundaries and being honest
boundaries.
with yourself.
That's also a big thing for me. Because it's everything. It's everything. Yeah.
Yes. So, like, when did you become aware of this thing called self-love? That it exists, and that you either have it or you don't have it. You can go. I'll go like last.
Okay. quite recently, sadly to say so.
Yeah.
Very, very recently. Even almost as recent as like 2 months ago.
Wow.
When I had my baby, I was really on mommy mode. I was like, feed her, provide, look for money, and a lot of people used to tell me, imagine you're not taking care of yourself. Imagine you're not taking care of yourself, until literally everything around me shut down. My health shut down, and then now I realized, maybe I need to take a pause. And then I also noticed quite recently that I'm always mad at people when they don't do things I ask them to do. I'm like, they're just doing them. They're just like, they don't know how to come through for other people. And then so I paused and I was like, why don't you do the same thing for yourself? If you can't do something, just say you can't. If you need, like, for sometimes as mom guilt, maybe you see some smoky pasua on the road, you're just like, okay, I'm here eating smoky pasua and my child is at home. No, I mean, did you not work for that money?
Yeah.
Even you can pause, eat some smoky pasua, keep it pushing.
Yeah.
So very recently, I've learned to try as much as possible, very intentionally, to pour on myself, because now that I was aware of the fact that I was giving of myself too much, it wasn't making me seem generous and nice in other people's eyes. It was literally making me a bitter bitch. Because now when other people don't do what I need them to do, I'm just like, if they're so selfish, you know. But how about you choose yourself first and then function in the fullness of yourself? Be the best and the fullest version of yourself. Then now outpour that to other people.
Yeah.
So quite recently.
That's
yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Mel, when did you become aware of this thing?
So I think because for me self-love was different, like for my different stages in life.
Yeah.
So I'd say the very first time was maybe in class 7.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, class 7.
Yeah.
For that age.
Yeah.
For that age.
Yeah.
But then now when life got real, you're an adult, you need to really, really mind for yourself, because you realize no one else
It's
gives
for you.
about you know.
Yeah.
So for that I'd say probably when I was in like second year. That's 2016.
In campus.
In campus.
Anything specifically happened in class 7 that you can remember triggered this, or in second year, as you're saying, that triggered these things?
That triggered. Okay, so aside from hearing it like a lot from mostly my mom, aside from that, where we grew up, my sis and I think, I don't know, I don't want to say it's ghetto. It wasn't ghetto. It was good. It was okay. But you just learn
Survival
such
mode?
yeah.
It was survival mode. Press.
So you just learn wejiangalie.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think for me, your time tukiwa lower primary to that point, ilikuwa hivyo survival mode. But it really hit me now when I was in upper primary.
Okay.
Like, and it hit and I was like, anyway, yeah, it's actually just you. And also there's this time in class 7, there was an incident. So my friend and my desk mate and I to my car, and then there's kuna msee nyuma yetu. So that chick used to come every day, and amebeba crackles, amebeba, like the fancy fancy snacks.
Yes.
You know, si tumebeba popcorn.
Popcorn's made from home.
Like for the whole week or something, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal at that moment. By the time I was in class 7, that was nothing. So me and my friend, we decided, let's prank her, because amezoea. You know, we can get these things if you want. So tumechukua apple yake tumeficha. Tukaificha hapo. Together, and she's the one who came up with the idea, imagine. And I was like,
let's do it.
Yeah, because, why not?
Alikuruka.
Imagine aliniruka. And it was the worst day because the teacher was so angry that day. You know, like how primary school teachers wanakuja job na stress. He was so angry, it became a big deal. Nilikalishwa nje ya class. Evie. Imagine.
Because of that small incident.
I've stolen an
apple. Yeah.
That story is always in my mind because I know it affected me because I did it for her.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh.
Yeah.
She came up with the idea.
And
you guys
and she was
executed
my
it together.
she's my desky.
Yeah.
So plus it was just a prank. It wasn't supposed to
Like
be that
serious. You're not a thief.
So
Gosh.
from that time ikakuwa kesi, parents came, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah. What?
Just do you, girl. Do
yeah,
you. Do
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Wow. So I also just recently became aware of this self-love thing, but it's in my adulthood. And this has happened because I've been put in situations where I had to challenge myself. I've been in places where I've been given leadership roles. I always disqualified myself. I tell everyone I'm a cheerleader, not a leader. That's how I describe myself. Give me a cheerleading role. Sema, fanya hivi. Mini waku. But don't put me there in front.
Yeah.
So I was given opportunities to be there in front. And I had to confront my fears.
Yeah.
And I had to really come to myself and say, you know what, Nekesa, you are beautiful, you can do this.
Yeah.
And then I had a lot of negative self-talk. I think for me it came from when I was pretty young.
Yeah.
Never believed I was as cute.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys, we were only two sisters growing up until the other sister was born.
Yeah.
My big sister is very light and I'm this dark. I was there, and then she's so pretty. She was so tiny. I was this big. Like I'm just big. I used to even touch any of her clothing items. I used to share my clothes with my big brother. Like I'd rather put on men's clothes than touch hers.
Oh no.
Yeah. So for me, it was like I became like a tomboy. And I was cool with that, but I was just hiding my insecurities and not wanting to deal with my fears. Yeah. So being put in places where I had to stand in front of people, it was a church situation, pray, did you lead women, did you do what? It really unmasked parts of me that I was not comfortable about, and really brought on this thing of self-love. Yeah. And then I also remember some lady used to say, jipende. So I was like, jipende ni nini. Yeah. And then also coming from that background of being told, of hearing these things when someone says, huyu anajipenda sana. Huyu mtoto anajipenda, hata hizi jiguza, hata hizi choka, sijui you're lazy, you're what. Like that negative talk, I just walked with those words, and it really formed a huge part of who I was until, let me tell you guys, I made a mistake that I have never forgotten, and it's because of lack of self-love. Yeah. So there are these jobs that were advertised, and I advertised for a job. So I was qualified for a role that had 3 people, and the lower role had 8 positions. Like the way a job can be advertised and written in brackets. 8 positions, and this one 3 positions. So I found a friend of mine who rewrote my CV, nini. Nikampatia, I gave them that advert. They tailored even my, like, helped me tailor the whole thing according to the position. 3 positions. Yeah. Then they sent it to me and told me, edit it, nini, then you send it. Yeah. I edited it and applied for the 8 positions once.
Why?
Because I didn't believe that I was good enough to make it for the upper one, the one that I was tailored for, the 3 positions one. And since you're like, this is 3 and this is 8. Yeah, you have more chances of making it in this one than this one. Yeah. I regret that decision to date. Yeah. But it came from lack of self-doubt, negative self-talk. You always self-sabotaging, like situations like that now. Yeah. Hey, like you call somewhere like, oh my God, no, not me, you know. Yeah. So, until I had to say, you know what, you're enough. But I had to go through this, like making a mistake that will really haunt me, for so long, for me to know where you have to wake up and really love yourself and believe you're okay and believe you're enough, like you're saying, a child of God, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to say, actually, I've gone ahead of myself. Those things that you've done that then showed like you didn't have self-love, according to you, or that made you negatively impact yourself, if you have any. Do I make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's been, I would say, even in the career arena, it's been playing small.
Yeah.
Maybe even similar to yours.
Yeah.
Because me, I had a bit of a delay. I was in primary school. I was out of school for almost over 3 years. So me, when I went back to school, I was 16. And I went back to class 8. And I had to struggle. I had to pay for school fees. So by the time I was clearing high school, I was 20.
Wow.
So now 21, I'm fresh. I'm getting with psych. I'm saying, me, I'm saving for college. I got pregnant.
Yeah.
Now it's the trajectory has changed. Now it's provide.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, I've never felt like I can do anything because I haven't had a college education yet. So sometimes maybe it's something that I can do, and I'm just like, people tell me, but you have the skills, but you're teachable, and I don't apply for it. I don't do it. So I really play small, especially in instances where someone has given me, like someone tells me try and apply for this, I'm like, but gender lanes, like that's a non-issue. If you're qualified, maybe you can do it. So I really play small. Another thing has been in the dating arena. This person doesn't have time for you. They don't even value you that much. You're there pursuing. It's really like you keep, everybody around you tells you, I feel like that man is not good for you, and you're just like, if not him, then who else? Me, in fact, with the fact that I back this one, I'm so lucky with my nini self.
Does that mean like you didn't think you're beautiful?
I didn't think. First of all, even now in society, we really glorify a certain aesthetic of how you should look.
Like I told you, the skin, the brown skin thing.
Yeah, so me, even growing up, I used to hear people, because my mom is very light, and my mom is beautiful. My mom is those women who, when they picture her, you will look at her twice. Wow. So even from a very young age, I could hear people telling me, huyu akai wako inaonekana anafanana na babake. She's not as light as you are. And those words used to get to me. Yeah. I've even had instances where we've done a family portrait of me, my mom, and even now recently with my daughter, and people tell me, hey, your mom is pretty. She's even prettier than you. And you're just like, what? Yeah, I mean, I thank God, but so those words, they get to you. Yeah. And it's very few people who have constantly been affirming me. Yeah. So recently my cousin was like, you know what, I'll invest in you. Let's get you some makeup. Let's get you some original makeup. Yeah. Let's teach you. Yeah. And at first I used to appear there looking like a Japanese geisha, like Mulan. You know, your face is white out, you look like a vampire. And then I just realized, you know what? Look at your facial features, see what works for you, and then start applying makeup to it. And now pole. So now I've started to, to build on myself and appreciate myself. Yeah. But yes, in those two instances, in terms of my career and in terms of dating,
dating is a whole paragraph on its own. We'll come back to that.
So the question was...
the question is, what have you then how have you negatively impacted yourself because of lack of exercising self-love? Or when did you put yourself first?
And then it negatively impacted me. So me, I'm one of those kids who grew up getting a lot of unajipenda sana. Okay. Yeah, from a very young age. And this was from my mom and my sis. Yeah. And my extended family. Yeah. So I'd say
did that make you play small? Did that make you tone yourself down?
So what made me do that was my sis is like 3 years older than me. So to go age mates, but we're not age mates, you get? Yeah. So there's some things, of course, she had to do way before I even started doing, like washing her own clothes or stuff like that. So when she started washing, because my sister ni ule mse saa zingine atajipeleka tu hata kama hata kama no, you don't really have to, but atafanya tu. And then now that you make me look like na we mbono fani, you know, and I'm like, I don't have to. I mean, plus if you needed me to, you can ask. I don't mind. So that was the
basis
Tina
of,
would Tina is my sister.
Yeah.
Tina can do this nini. Mel hakuna kitu anajua, Mel hakuna kitu anafanyanga. Mel is lazy, Mel is selfish, ataki ku, you know. And then the thing is, that was also like a huge part of me just saying, you know what? We ishi tu maisha yako, because you can't, because when that's a lot, by default you start trying to prove yourself.
You start doing
subconsciously to utapata kuna msiana commenting some type of way. Now you're dodging that comment by doing some stuff. So I guess me grew to a point, to the point I realized see lazima, because the negative, that ka feeling, because for me it wouldn't be like negative huge actually I lost something, or it was how I felt afterwards about myself, about what am I doing, what am I supposed to do. That was what the worst for me.
So this thing has also affected the relationships, now that you've mentioned it. The relationships we entered in or said yes to, and let me tell you why I even started talking about this. There's someone, a lady, who approached us and was just giving us a bit of her story. Us is my husband and I. And she was just giving us a bit of her story about her relationship, and then she was asking, then you guys, what do you think I should do? And for me, the loudest thing that came out of there, I just told her, love yourself. Full stop. If you love yourself, you're not going to even ask a second person what they think you should do. And in that same season or in that same instant, it's not only her, has someone else going through a bit of the same situation. I went back to my life, thought about it, and I just remembered some toxic relationships that I stayed in, very manipulative. And kuna zingine unafikiria hadi unasema God, hata wewe unajua hapa sijasamehea bado.
But I do.
I know.
They were so bad, like for them. Where? I don't even know how to like, I don't even have like the right words to use, but some relationships you found yourself in and you accepted them, and it showed you, it actually shows you your self-worth.
True.
Some time back, I was trying to, I actually tried to have a conversation about this. Like, we have the people who have daughters. What then? And I really struggled with this. What am I going to tell my daughters about what a healthy relationship is? Because I wouldn't want her to be thrown around and taken here and there and be lied to, because that's the whole narrative of the society. Like, girls like being lied to, or girls like bad boys, or girls like this and that, and those statements thrown around in society, we want to teach them differently. And we want to teach them also using our own examples. What can you comment about relationships first and that issue of
How much time do we have?
I know.
So my very first relationship, like I said, there was a time I was out of school. So I was 14 at the time. I was 14 going 30. Because I was just here adulting in my very young teenage age. But one thing that I was very conscious of was there are certain things that I have no business doing. And I think I mentioned it in our last podcast. So Mimi, sexual relations were out of bounds for me. But he hadn't finished school himself, but he had just decided to work because now school fees, nothing. So he was 17, I was 14. I remember him pushing me constantly to be like, see, we do this thing, and I just remember refusing. But I also remember just feeling so bad that I wasn't allowed, because he would give me like money sometimes, and those are times are really hard for us at home. So he's like, you guys don't have supper? He has like 2 sock, 3 sock, don't tell your mom I gave you, and I bring it home and we kula and so I remember feeling bad for like, Mona, I'm not submitting. Like, why wouldn't I do that with him?
And then 14.
Yes,
you knew
14.
Submitting.
No, as in,
like
why
a
am I
giving
not like
in?
allowing it, like giving in? Sorry,
He's
that's the wrong one.
coming
And he's coming through for me.
Yeah.
And then so later on, I went back to school, and then now in high school, now I had my high school sweetheart, who was in campus at the time, and me, I was in high school, and that's like that. I feel like that relationship is like a whole soap opera. It's like seasons, because he came in, we met in church, of course, and we started talking. He came home, he met my mom, he met my auntie, my cousins, and he even became the family go-to person. Ati, I need to drive to Suji where I'm not feeling well. Tell so and so to come. I almost mentioned his name. Tell so and so to come through for us.
Yeah.
And so he was even integrated into the family.
Yeah.
But I later came to find out that all this guy wanted to do was break my resolution. Like, he used to find it and he used to tell me, but I never quite got it. Ati, you're so resolute. Like, you're such a good girl. You're too vanilla. We need to shake you up kidogo,
Imagine.
And so I was like, and me, I was doing things with him thinking it's special. Like, so he was my very first kiss, he was my what. I even ended up now, losing my virginity to him. And sometimes I look back and I just think, I wish I knew different. I would have moved different, because he used to tell me things that people wouldn't ordinarily tell me. I wasn't the chunkiest, I wasn't the thickest. And there was that illusion for the thicker you are, the finer you are. And he always used to tell me, you're so pretty. Me, I think you look so nice. And so because he's telling me things like that and affirming me, then now I'm doing more than I shouldn't be doing. And so I remember my friends coming to tell me, people who knew him really well, that I feel like, Nani, you two are good friends, yes, but I think he's using you. Or I feel like you shouldn't give in to everything he says. And I was always refusing, like, you people don't know him like I do. We have connections. And that was an instance where in relationships, I feel like I really let myself go. I feel like if there's one thing I took from that relationship, is always choose you and never second guess what it is that feels right for you. I did so much for him in the name of, you don't know us guys have a connection, you don't know us like we do it, nini. And I really went way off tangent from my beliefs, from the things I held dear, just to be able to maintain that. And it didn't end well. And so I wish I would have known different and done different. Now, moving forward, of course, I still have a lot of scars and a lot of things that I see, especially around self-sabotage in relationships, that occur even up to very recently. And so now I just try, every time I see myself going into that pitfall, I catch myself. It's a constant struggle, but we are making progress. What can I say?
It's a struggle till today. Till today.
Yeah.
And for me, in terms of self-love and relationships, I'd say it is a constant struggle. Because sometimes I'm that type who, let's say I've met someone for the first, let's say the first phase, me don't ule me hold back, because me nule say if I'm in, I'm in. Mi si ule wa mguu moja ndani nje venye siku hizi Nairobi iko, I can't do that. So nime notice, maybe let's say the last 2 people I've dated, or 3, let me say 3. Ikianza, inanza, it's all mushy and, it's nice, blah, 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 for a certain period, and then it just changes. Not always actually we got intimate or anything. It just switches, pop, and I don't know if it's because it turns and now
You're in.
I'm not the one and now I'm in. I don't know. I don't get it. But of course, when it gets there, you catch yourself. There's a friend of mine, anashinanga akisema jipende nani.
Yeah.
You know?
Jipende nani. It's a whole
ikifika hapo, I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. Miza, but what do you do? Yeah.
It was good while it lasted.
It was good while it lasted. That's actually it.
So you said it changes. What do you feel changes?
Primary would be treatment. Yeah. You'd start noticing some comments. Ama maybe mnazoeana na msee sana. Anaanza tu kumake comments. Probably bado amjafikishana. And then if you talk about it or you start, it's inakuwa, we Mel unakuanga so demanding, ama you expect things to go your way, ama not everything will always, sometimes even you're wrong. Like it, inakuwa ni kama sasa ni
she wants to go fight on your behalf.
Let me tell you, I have that problem. I'm just like, drop pin. Who?
Yeah, it turns to that.
Yeah.
And usually, most of the time, I try to avoid conflict. I try. So if it's avoidable, I'll just be like, if it's not,
Do you speak up?
itawaka.
Okay.
Like now itapite kwa extreme. Get loud and if it's gotta get physical, but I'm not saying this. But it would be too, comments too, moja mbili, that you don't like. Of course, the issue of, I don't know if all guys are like that, but if you hang out with maybe a certain group of people that involves other males, it becomes an issue now. Vitu tu as it makes sense. Me, I'm just hoping eventually, if there's someone out there for me,
We are hoping together.
akwetu ni mtu tuneza reason, because ikifika mali amwezi reason, clearly you're not meant for each other. Clearly.
Yeah. Hey, see, me, my whole story of dating and relationships has just been messy because starting from very young, I've already mentioned, I didn't believe I was beautiful, didn't believe. So anyone who used to come and like hit on me, for me it will be like, I'd laugh it off. You're joking, like let's just and for me that's that. And I moved on. So it was such a struggle I remember some friend of mine who worked in high school. She was like, okay, next now who is your boyfriend, like for real? Because now you just hang out with us in a group, you just know us in groups. It was really hard for me to have that one-on-one because I never really trusted, believed I was beautiful, I was deserving. It's because of the childhood trauma, the abuse, so I never really, I had a whole, no one could come close, and then the switch happened, and then when it happened, it was just now, I was like in a bubble. That's the best way I can describe it. I was in a bubble, and then I was just like, hata mimi nakutaka. I come to, hi, sasa, I chipo you also, ala.
Is that a bad thing? It was a bad thing, like no. Generally.
For me, no, I don't believe it is.
I don't know why society makes it in.
I don't think it is. Let me tell you, there's a guy in high school and anasamanga next unajua we ni boys. But then for real, they used to call me boys with them because for me, I used to see like, hey, by the way, even me, hi, how are you? Can we do this? And I've moved on. I switched and I became someone else. I normally say I was like in a bubble. I cruised through that season. Then one day I just came out of the bubble and I was like, oh, back to real world. How do things happen here?
It is always a pleasure to have hosted you. Thank you for listening. Follow us on the socials, Instagram and Twitter at BeDifferentKE, at I am Nekesa. Facebook is Nekesa Ochieng. Let's keep talking.